Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you the speed up version of the live stream from May 23rd, 2019, and it is all about doing some art journal pages inspired by a mood board from the Art Joy of Sharing art community. And I'm working in my Small Dilutions journal. The mood board that we are using for this particular episode happens to be the one for June, which is not technically June yet, but I've already created the mood board and I'll be placing it in the file in Art Joy of Sharing today after I finish editing this video. So the mood board that I made this time was all about summer vacation and travel, and going to the beach, going to the lake, going to visit a city, something like that. And it has a lot of colors of blues and greens, like nature colors in it. And then there are some highlighted areas on the mood board with orangey red type colors. So I started my page by using phthalo blue and phthalo blue-green light and some titanium white to color all the white page into those type of colors. Kind of looks like water a little bit. My ideal vacation requires water, whether it's a lake or something like that, or whether it's the beach. If I'm going to go on a summer vacation, which unfortunately I'm not, but if I was, it would be somewhere where there's water. Also in the mood board, if you really look at it, there's a subliminal message there. There is a lot of triangular shapes. There's a tent, it's the shape of a triangle. There's a sign. There's a caution sign. There's pyramids in the background of one of the pictures. A lot of triangles in there. And that was my little secret subliminal message when I made the board. So the colors are blues and greens with a little hint of red and orange, and then a lot of triangles. So my page is going to be abstract. And you can absolutely use a mood board to make an abstract piece of art. It doesn't have to be literal. You don't have to use pictures from the mood board, you know, the images like a tent or something like that from the mood board. You certainly can, and that's a way to approach it, but you don't have to. So mine is going to be quite abstract. And I'm using some collage of a map, a piece of map paper that had islands and water in between, and then some stenciling. I've got a Deco Andy Skinner stencil that's going up and across, kind of in a crossways, and it reminds me of several things. It reminds me of arrows that are pointing go somewhere. It reminds me of a tire tread, like you were driving and making a tire tread. And it also has that triangular shape. So it was a perfect stencil to use on this particular page. I also have some cutout papers that have pictures of different plants on them, solely for the colors and the pattern, not for you to identify what plant it is. They're all different ones, and they're from a nature magazine that I just cut out a few little squares, and then I cut those into triangles and glued those across my page. I also have this die cut piece of cardstock that's kind of a turquoise blue. It has a lot of texture to it, and so I'm cutting it again into triangle pieces. Not perfect triangles, just, you know, triangle-ish shapes, and gluing those on the page as well. Most of my collage is, well, all of my collage is going in a horizontal line across the page about 2/3 down from the top. I have some homemade washi tape here, and that's where I'm going to bring in a little bit of that orange color into my collage by just tearing very thin strips of it and sticking it down. And then I cut some of the map paper into smaller triangles and put those on because I thought I needed to bring some more of that lighter blue back in, because my map collage piece got kind of covered by everything else. Which is what happens when you collage. You're just putting on layers and you get more and more layers, and that's just what happens. So this page does invoke the idea of mountains and a lake or something like that, but it's not literal. It's not a picture of a mountain with a lake with a boat on it or something, it's very abstract. So that's how I like to use mood boards. I like to use the shapes and the colors and sometimes an image, something that jumps out at me. Like last month's mood board, the May one had a little dancing girl on it, and I ended up making that the focal image of my page that was inspired by the May mood board. And I'll put a link to that one in the iCard up above so that you can find it if you want to watch that when you haven't seen it already. So then I'm trying to decide, I like my abstracted idea. I'm trying to decide, do I want to make it a little bit more literal? And I had stamped the words summer vacation onto a piece of tissue paper with permanent ink. And I was trying to decide, do I want to use that or not? I decided I would go ahead and put some shadows on with the Stabilo All Pencil, just to darken some areas. Maybe some of these triangular shapes that I had stenciled and some of the triangular shapes that I'd glued on, just to make them stand out a little bit more. So I did that, and then I decided to do some dripping. And I started out with green gold and let it drip across the area. And then then I decided to use this Naphthol red light. These are high flow paints, which are very fluid. A lot of pigment, but very, very fluid. And when I put that on, it splattered a bit, and I thought it looked like a crime scene. That color just really reminds me of blood. But I did need some of that color for balance and for contrast. And so I went ahead, and of course I'd already put it on. So I went ahead and put it in another few areas. And then I'm using my finger and some white paint just to lighten a few areas and make a little bit more contrast. I had some leftover white paint on my palette. So the red, it was a little bit, at first, a little bit too much, but I ended up liking it. And then I decided what I needed was a circle for a sunshine or something like that. So I got a couple pieces of orangey yellowy scrap paper, that's painty paper, that was laying around, and cut them into a circular shape and put that on my page. And I think at that point I did decide I would use the word vacation, the tissue paper word vacation on it as well, which does make it more literal for sure, but still an abstract piece. So I put that on with some fluid matte medium, and then I'm just adding a few extra touches, some more of the Stabilo All Pencil and blending that with a water tank brush. I'm going to add some white splatters with my Posca pen and just, little final touches. We ended up ending the show 20 minutes early because we both finished our pages early and we had a lot of other things going on. So this video isn't as long as usual, but it was a fun page to do. I enjoyed it. I think we're just talking right now about what we should do and should we end the show early or whatever, but you're getting a long look at the page, I guess. I think this is when I decided to do white splatters. I just like splatters. I enjoy them. And the white Posca pen makes nice white splatters because you can just flick it and the paint comes out the tip and flicks. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below if you have a question or comment. Subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to turn on your notification bells so that you will know when there's a fresh new video that comes out. So that is it for me for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.